My name is Tiernan O'Rourke, and in this video I'll be taking you on a journey along the highest trekking peak in Nepal. We take the route less travelled to Mera Peak, passing through many villages as we enjoy the sights and sounds of Nepalese life. This expedition is a truly once-in-a-lifetime experience, and I feel very lucky to be here. Today we'll be flying from Manthalli to Lukla, and then from there we'll trek to Poyan. It should take about 6 hours.
Yeah, we can see mountains, we can see planes coming in and out and helicopters and things. Now you're feeling, yeah, we're into this now. I was aware of Lukla Airport, and I was probably, on a more positive side, I was kind of told this is one of the more uniquely positioned or exotic airports in the world, so I was kind of, it was only afterwards maybe somebody else said that it did have a reputation as being highly dangerous, but I kind of liked it.
That's another part of it. Kathmandu is worth seeing alone, and that flight was worth doing alone.
You know, we'll probably be hanging around here for a while, and the next thing it was kind of right, we're ready, we're going. It was kind of like, going where? That's where we started to come across the initial many donkeys that we got to see over the first couple of days.
It was like, actually, we were in the jungle, and it wasn't that, I didn't think it was that hard, no, that part of it. And it was nice and warm, we had all shorts and t-shirts on us, and it was lovely walking, actually. It was like walking in Ireland in the summer. That was a nice tea house, actually. Day one. Wasn't it? It was, yeah. And the food was nice there, actually. And when we went out in the daylight was the thing. When we saw the mountain, you could actually see the mountains. For the first time, the snow-capped mountains. Just blow your mind away. Blow your mind away. Spite rotten for breakfast. Omelettes, porridge. God, Tibetan bread actually was lovely. It was like a giant donut. And for where we were, like everything had to be carried up, so anything you got, you had to be grateful for anything you got.
Today's trek will take us from Poyan to Panggom, which takes about 8 hours. We will start with a gentle downhill, which is followed by an hour-long ascent to reach a shoulder, which offers stunning views of the surrounding landscape. From here we descend on a rough trail to reach Khare for lunch. After this we descend for another short while, and then ascend for 3 hours to reach Panggom.
That was a nice trek again, which is different than hiking in Ireland because you're going slow. You know, you have no hurry. Everything is slow down, easier pace. You know, so it wasn't hard. And the scenery is out of this world, so it makes it even easier.
I found as time went on the trip, kind of learn a bit about one person, and then you get more, maybe a little bit more focused, or you spend a bit more time with the other. So as the whole trip went on, I got nice conversation with all of them.
Yeah, it was a lovely tea house, and all the rooms actually all looked out into the mountains and fields. And there was little gardens, it was actually a beautiful little place. Stunning views again, absolutely stunning. You could actually lie in your bed and leave your door open, see the sun going down. It was actually beautiful, beautiful place.
We took the never-ending staircase up to the monastery and got to see the sunset over the mountains, which was incredible. And then the monks performed a ceremony that they do every night for sunset. It was probably one of my favourite memories of the trip, to watch the sun kind of come down over the mountains and listening to the bells in the background.
Today's trek will take us from Panggom to Najingdingma. This should take about 8 hours and should offer us our first views of Mera Peak. After that, we will walk along the Hinku Kola River until we reach Najingdingma.
You know, is that Mera Peak? Is that Mera? There were, I remember there were one or two other pretty impressive peaks on our left and right going up some of those valleys, and we kept pointing to them, and that was Peak 7. No, that was Peak 17, and no, that one is something else. And that's only 5,000 meters.
Yeah, we came around the corner. That was. Is that where we're going?
No, very achievable, guys.
It looked as high as any of the rest of the high mountains, and we knew what was ahead of us. What was real warm, and yeah, there was a tap there. We washed our hair. The women did. The women were bold. They washed their hair on the tap. We had our lunch there. It was a lovely stop there for around 40 minutes. Good food again. The food there was nice.
I normally wouldn't be a lunch eater. I ate every single lunch because you're always hungry.
It was our first experience of a suspension bridge, wasn't it? The first big one. Yeah, they're not as they're a bit bouncier than they look. The views there are stunning, down into the river, long way down, long way down.
I suppose a slightly positive surprise to find out that it was a good strong bridge made of metal. Because from a distance I wasn't sure, was this going to be one of these kind of things out of Indiana Jones, you know.
But there was another brilliant experience actually.
Yeah, so that day was quite a long day. So by the time we got there, we were probably, I suppose, exhausted. It's really starting to settle in now that we were properly on it, and we were a good couple of days in. So you were starting to really feel disconnected, which was great, and really relaxed.
Today's trail starts out flat as we pass through the meadows in Najingdingma. Soon we ascend a steep path to reach the tree-covered ridgeline above the village. Once on the ridge, we follow it all the way to Chalemkharka.
We met a massive herd of goats and sheep, hundreds and hundreds of them. And they were coming again. We didn't know where to look actually or where to go, but they all invited. There was no collisions anyway. And we went, after we got out of the forest, there was just a big plain of fields and a river. And there was goats, sheep lying everywhere, shepherds everywhere. It's just, I don't know, it's like going back in time to me anyway.
Cool. We got there early in the day, so everybody was warm. You know, you had a chance to kind of sit out in the sunshine. It
was actually a beautiful place, beautiful scenery, the whole valley. Yeah, and during the day you think there was no one living in the valley, and the night then the lights of the villages came up, and the sun went down. It was just, actually that was mind-blowing, that place.
Look where we are. You had the furnace going in the evening to keep you warm, and then you just get into bed. So mentally, I think I was into that routine. I think most people were. The rest day was nice, just kicking back. Aaron took us on a jaunt up the side of the hill. That was actually nice. Yeah, and pacing of that was great. It was just a nice way to spend a couple of hours.
Oh, we only went up a small bit, yeah. We didn't really do much that day. We just went up and had to look back into the valley, sat down, took our time for a couple of hours and relaxed, and just got another few hundred meters and back again. It stood to us in the long run, actually.
Today we will climb to the Lukla Pass. After the pass, we descend for 1 hour to reach the tea houses in Chalemkharka.
We went up a fair height that day, a long way up, but it's slow. You couldn't emphasise enough on people how slow you're going. There's no hurry on you, so it doesn't, you're not tired, or it's not like being at home hiking and you're rushing. It's just real slow, and every step then is so steep you're gaining altitude, every step you're gaining altitude.
The panorama ahead of us on the other side and looking down into those valleys, and I remember thinking that they looked very like a landscape that you might see in the west of Ireland somewhere.
So after a really steep ascent with plenty of breaks, thank God, we managed to get up to 4.2, and it was a really big achievement for the team. Like, it just felt so amazing to get up to that height and really, really enjoy the view around us. And I suppose what made it even better then was that we knew the rest of the day was going to be downhill. So altitude-wise, at that point, I was feeling pretty good, to be honest, lots of energy. So I was really excited then to see how I'd feel as we'd go higher.
It was just utterly, beautifully remote.
There's a holy lake, and there was like 3-pronged forks there. There was a holy lake, and people left money there, and they left gifts there, and it was like they made wishes. But we had a stone, whether we should or not, even though the shepherds joined in, there was a stone skimming competition. Oh, Kunga won it, actually. It was Kunga. He won it.
Do you remember who won the skimming competition?
I did. I don't think. No, I don't think that was in dispute. I think.
No, he didn't. Kunga won it. 100% Kunga won it. I remember he'd thrown out one. It must have skimmed off the water. So he's doing it every time he goes up there. When I got to the top of the pass and I looked down, I said, "Is there anything down here?" It was just 2 little huts. I think there was 2 little houses, stone houses.
Because the way the mountains enveloped it, it was kind of like you were entered a different realm. You were living in a different kind of valley or world. It was like Middle Earth.
Oh my God, this place has to be seen to be believed. But the nicest woman you'll ever meet in your life, she made it. It was freezing cold, but I think the warmth of her home must have been enough for everyone. And we lit the stove in the night. We had our head torches on. Oh, but there was an atmosphere there as well. It was unbelievable. Jeez, I loved it there, actually. It was better, to me, it was better than a 5-star hotel for where it was. I had a bag of chocolate with me. I mean a bag, 2.5 kilos. And we brought the bag out, and you had to dip your hand. Whatever you got, you kept. No looking.
That kind of night when you're on an expedition like that, where it becomes a little absurd, and everybody starts cracking jokes about it. Look where we've ended up. So that kicked off a good bit of fun and a good bit of joking. Yeah, it's good fun.
You're on the journey of a lifetime. You're on a journey that is universal, yet uniquely personal and profound, yet astonishingly simple. Where sometimes you will stumble and other times you will soar. Travel at your own pace. There'll be time enough to learn all you need to know and go as far as you're meant to go. Travel light. Letting go of extra baggage, will keep your arms open and your heart free to fully embrace the gifts of the moment.
From Kholakharka we ascend for almost an hour, climbing out of a stunning natural bowl. From there we descend all the way to the Hinku Kola River. Once we reach the river, it takes us just over an hour to reach our tea house in Khare.
So it was great to get out of our camp there because it was freezing in the morning, like I think the coldest I've ever been, to be able to climb up then and start to get warmer. And we made our way through a lovely forest type area before stopping for tea, where the locals were, I suppose, weaving like a roof for a shelter or possibly for a tea hut. So it was really amazing to be able to sit, have a cup of tea and watch them do their work, because it was completely obviously by hand with machetes and everything else. So then as we were coming out of the forest, we started making our way along the river, which was really beautiful till the weather turned a bit and we started to get our first bit of rain for the trip. It was completely different to the rest of the terrain that we had seen before, so it made it all the more interesting.
On arrival in this tea house, we found out we could get Wi-Fi and Pringles, so that lifted everyone's spirits. We also got our closest view of Mera yet.
And Mera Peak was that was right behind us. It was actually hard to believe you were going up that high when you saw it from there. Yeah, that was a lovely little tea house again. Nice and warm, stove lighting, loads of food there, good food. And you could have a shower there actually. It was cold enough, but if you dared have a shower.
So that night anyway was Cahill's birthday, and then the Sherpas brought Cahill out his birthday cake, and it was a really good bonding moment for the team, and everybody did a little bit of singing and dancing, and Cahill got to blow out his candle.
Today, we enjoy a slightly easier day as we follow the Khare River to Tangnag.
It wasn't that hard. It was there was a lot of it level along the river. Amazing again, the boulders that came down the river, it was just crazy looking the size of them.
And on that particular day, I remember the weather was really nice and warm, and I was delighted that we were so nice and warm for a change.
Yeah, it was a monastery that was built in under kind of large rock structure on the side of the river, and it's a holy site for Buddhists, and Kunga and Dawa were able to give us the background, and it was a nice stop. So we got a little bit of their story in their location, and that was very cool. I enjoyed that.
So I suppose it was like staying in a 5-star resort at that stage when we arrived at Oxygen Lodge. We had electricity, we were able to plug in our phones, and we had our own private toilet.
Stop for horses this morning. Synchronize the watches that none of them are ready.
Look great. We arrived at what can only be described as Aspen, the nicest mountain hut I've ever seen in my life. It was like we were in the Alps.
This is just luxury.
Walked in, there was heating, 360 glass the whole way around the mountains, and a coffee machine that worked.
And that was it. When we got to Khare, everything, actually the shop there was brilliant, where you could hire your stuff. They're the best of stuff, the best of everything. And you could hire your stuff there, get your crampons, get your boots, coats, anything you wanted. They had it. And that's when the reality set in. When you tried on them boots and them crampons, this is it.
No.
Trying to get all your equipment right and making sure you didn't forget stuff, and so there's a lot of a little nervous about, geez, I don't want to halfway up the mountain find out I forgot my gloves or I forgot this or I didn't bring that. So busy kind of day.
Super excited to go to base camp. I am excited. Looking forward to my new altitude PV, the highest I'll have ever been. And obviously it'll be a change in the luxury that we've had in our tea houses the last few days. But apprehensive and excited are just two sides of the same coin, so ready to go.
Had a bit of lunch, headed off then into our base camp. Got accompanied by one of the many dogs of Nepal.
Now, I remember coming out of Khare because we went up those steps, and I think everybody thought they were going to. We literally had our breakfast, and next thing started pounding up these steps to get out of town, and I think everybody thought they were going to have a coronary. I did anyway. It was kind of surely we can't keep going on like this.
That was a steep enough climb up through that, and it was rocky. Remember, it was rocky, and Mera Peak was looking down at you, come and get me. And up to, when we got there to that camp, that's it, the tents kick in then. And that's your kind of real reality check then. The fun is over for a while.
Somewhere there's a Mera Peak.
And buffs were on because it was a very dusty trail. It was probably the first time actually that we had any proper dry terrain where you needed that buff. And lots of rocky and very steep then up to base camp.
Just keep swimming, just keep walking.
It was slow away, and the altitude didn't, I don't think anyone was affected even by it then, because we're getting good in the climatized till we're on the trail so long.
Thank you very much.
Now that's all snow for the night. These are the only photos that should be posted up. Oh no, you can't put them. You actually win the code. Thank you.
10 out of 10. Would recommend.
How do you like me now?
Namaste. This morning we were departing base camp and leaving to high camp. The majority of today's climb will be on snow, for which you'll be roped up and wearing crampons.
Rest your weary little head.
Candy cane.
Both excited and very nervous. But sure, we'll get up and we'll see how we get on. Very slowly.
Now, quote of the day according to Noel. What lies behind us and what lies before us are tiny matters compared to what lies within us. Amen. Amen. Amen.
Proud of the colour there.
It's quick. I know when they're going to come out.
You can't see a thing except the stars, and your focus is on one step, two step, and the rope. And that's what you got to think of for the next God knows how many hours.
You're going real slow, very slow, actually slower than you had the whole trip. And every step, but you were taking 20 steps stopping, 20 steps stopping to get your breath back.
And then when you look ahead, you're seeing those little glows of headlights miles and miles ahead of you, thinking, Jesus, I'm never ever going to get there. And you just keep going.
Freezing, absolutely freezing. I know many coats on me, hats, gloves, I know many trousers, layers I had on me, and I could still feel it. But when the sun was coming up, it's just, I don't know, it's hard to explain. You have to see it to believe it. Up that height, and it's just amazing.
It's a really different type of exertion, and it's mental as much as physical. It's kind of really, you literally are going, okay, that's it, I'm done, and that's it. The next step is the last one. Okay, now I'll do one more.
The sun was coming up, and we turned a corner and we could see our other team just a little bit ahead of us, and they were waiting for us to do the last push, and that really drove the rest of us on, because like, right, there's the first team. We're only a few minutes behind them, and now we're going to push for summit.
And we saw the other group of 5 coming by, that was it, we were buzzing then. It was kind of a Father Ted moment, near far away. But when you got to the top, oh my God, I think I laid down in the snow. I think I laid down in the snow, yeah. When you got to the top of the view, oh my God, everything, all the climbing for days just all vanishes. Never felt like that before. And especially the 10 of us, because there was a bond between the 10 of us, which was good, a team, we had a team together.
And then we're all on top together, and the buzz is unreal. Like, everybody's congratulating each other, we're all cheering.
I doubted myself going up along. I won't make it. And I'm 57 and I done it, and that was it. I was just buzzing when I got to the top of it, over the moon. The way the 10 people clicked was unbelievable. And It was only after you realised that the 10 people got to the top. You were saying, like, imagine if 2 didn't make it, you'd feel terrible. But anyone that we met on the way down saying, how did you reach the top? 10 out of 10.
Welcome back, lads.
Thank you very much.
For me, and I'm sure everyone else on this trip, it has been a truly once-in-a-lifetime experience. We've had the opportunity to see some of the most amazing sights, meet some of the most amazing people, and make some lifelong friends. This sort of expedition will show you a side of yourself you never knew existed. But after you find it, you'll be very glad it's there.
As a certified B Corp, we focus on having a positive impact on both the environment and the communities we visit. We also set the highest safety standard of any expedition company in the world by having both an expedition leader and a doctor on each and every one of our trips. For more info on our sustainability policies, safety standards, and to see our range of expeditions, visit our website earths-edge.com.